Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Mr. Gonzales for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Comer, for hosting me today. I represent 42% of the southern border, places like Uvalde, Eagle Pass, Del Rio, El Paso County that are in the news every single day. As a representative of the largest border district in the country, I share the frustrations with my colleagues, and it's long time for Congress and the administration to stop playing political games and do something. I want to first start by thanking you. Thank you, both chiefs, for everything that you do. Thank you for the men and women in green that every day roll up their sleeves and go to work. My first question is to Chief Chavez. Yes or no, please. Do you think repatriation flights work?
Yes, sir, they do for us.
Damn right they do. A repatriation flight is someone that does not qualify for asylum, gets put on a plane, and they don't get flown to New York or Chicago or Washington, D.C. They get flown to Haiti, to El Salvador, or Guatemala. They absolutely work. When there were 15,000 Haitians under a bridge in Del Rio, what stopped that was literally around 2,000. It wasn't the whole 15,000. Bulk of people were released into the country, but it was about 2,000 people that were flown back to Haiti, and all of a sudden it stopped. My next question, also for Chief Chavez. I have a bill, the Security First Act, that labels cartels as terrorist organizations. Would you agree that cartels terrorize the people they smuggle and deserve to be prosecuted with higher penalties?
I do agree that they do terrorize the migrants that they smuggle, just from statements and debriefs that we receive when we interview migrants in our custody.
Of course, these are evil people that don't even view these migrants as cattle. They're really mistreated in every single way. Next question, also for Chief Chavez. Does the Border Patrol currently have the capacity to permanently house all migrants for the entire length of their asylum process?
Absolutely not, Congressman. We do not have that level of capacity in our facilities.
It currently takes around 5 years for an asylum case to be heard, sometimes longer, depending on what part of the country that you take. This is the danger of turning an agency like yours that is meant to catch terrorists, fentanyl, real-time situations, and putting you into processing centers. My next question is for Chief Modlin. Would banning all asylum claims, including people in legitimate life or death situations, make the border more or less secure?
Thank you for the question, sir. I don't know that banning any asylum claims would make the border any more secure.
Yeah, I think to your sector in particular, where the bulk of the people coming over are gotaways, are essentially trying to flee and escape. That's what I worry with the rhetoric. If you divide the two, you won't solve the root of the problem, which is essentially catching bad people from into our country. I want to go back to Chief Chavez. Would manpower and technology, would that help start to secure the border?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Manpower and technology makes a huge difference in order for us to secure that border.
Can you give me some examples of where manpower and technology have been successful?
If we go back, 27-year career, back in the mid-'90s, we had a 5-mile piece of border in San Diego from the beach just to Interstate 5. 5 miles of border, we were encountering over 500,000 people. And in those 5 miles, we increased the amount of personnel, and we tripled the amount of technology. And within a couple of years, we were able to gain operational control of those 5 miles of border. So it was effective. It was really effective, but it also added barrier. So with infrastructure, we were able to gain a significant amount of enforcement there.
You know, a little over a year ago, last Christmas, I visited Del Rio. I spent 20 years in the military. I've spent a lot of Christmases abroad. I wanted to spend this Christmas on the border. So I visited the Del Rio at 7 o'clock in the morning, and there was over 100 migrants waiting to be processed. And I'll never forget that day. There was one Border Patrol agent that was exhausted. You could see it in the man's eyes. It was 7 a.m. His shift had just started, and he was already tired. And so you can tell that the workforce is under an incredible amount of pressure. In the same lens, I see a young woman in her mid-20s with a 4 or 5-year-old little boy, and that little boy is gripping her hand as tight as can be. And all I can think of is what kind of journey had they gotten to get to that point. And so, you know, speaking with her a little later, her husband was killed in the country that they were fleeing. What I'm getting at is there are moments where there are people legitimately fleeing persecution all across the world, and we got to be respectful of that. We also have to stop the terrorism and the fentanyl from coming into our country and killing our children. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman